No. There we are. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Huck's Pop Culture Cafe. I'm your host, Huck, and man, this is like two nights, like back to back, Monday to tonight. We're keeping the PM entertainment train rolling, talking more about Steel Frontier and the studio itself. And not only do I have many of the people that were with me on the documentary, but we got more, y'all. We didn't just stop there, and I'm gonna bring them on right now and let them say, hey, there they are. Hey guys. There they are, ladies and gentlemen. We're just gonna go around the horn. I want you to introduce yourself to our audience. Paul, starting with you, my friend.
My name is Paul G. Volk, and I started off as an editor at PM and then became an editor plus post supervisor. Then I started directing, and that's pretty much what I continue to do in my free time. I'm semi-retired, but I do enjoy occasionally getting back into the saddle.
Fantastic. Joe, lay it on us, buddy. We heard you Monday. What else?
I am Joe Hart, a.k.a. Jacobsen Hart. I co-directed and wrote Steel Frontier and several other PM movies I wrote.
Oh, we'll get into those. Jim Cody.
It's me, Jim Cody Williams. Speaking to you from Los Angeles, California. I played Charlie Bacchus in this wonderful film. I adored getting to be in this job 30 years ago. So I'm
31.
I am privileged to be here tonight, back with these wonderful people. So there.
Love it. Mr. Robert O'Reilly.
Well, I can't believe 31 years ago, Nick, but I'm Robert O'Reilly, by the way, and I played Evermore, and this is one of my favorite roles of all time. I love doing this film. It was just, I just love the character. It was, it fit my glove just perfectly, and I love doing the film.
Thanks, Bob. Oh, and we're going to get into it good. And you, sir, on the end, John Cross, who the heck are you? Holding up that amazing movie. What do you got there? Hold on, we're going to go.
I got Steel Frontier, the
full
DVD.
screen on this guy. Look at that.
Steel Frontier, the DVD. Pick it up now. Also, hold out for the Blu-ray coming December, apparently. I am John Cross from the PM Entertainment Podcast. Longtime PM fan. Can't believe I get to do this. And started a podcast a few months back and already have spoken to a ton of people within the PM Entertainment world and hope to speak to a lot more. And Steel Frontier is in my, if not my top, certainly my top 3 PM films of all time, and very close to one of my favorite films of all time, period.
Ooh, we love hearing that. Well, look, y'all, we're going to have a live audience with us tonight. We're just going to pop in real quick just to say hi. I want you to know, Adrian James, may I tell you guys, this person's amazing. He's from across the pond. We have an international audience here tonight. So that's amazing.
Be late there.
So, hello, got William in here. What's up, guys? Now, Kitten
It's 3 a.m.
That's right.
In the UK right now.
I know.
Wow.
Now, this one's very special. I'm going to need everybody on screen to do something for me. So the Kitten Paws is my wife. That's Becky. She's saying hello. It's going to be great. She gets a lot of kudos tonight because tonight is not only a special night for us, it's also a special night for us as it is our anniversary tonight.
And happy anniversary.
So let's hear it. Happy anniversary to Becky.
Happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary.
Because she let me play with you guys tonight because she knew how hard I've been trying to get this going. And she's like, look, we'll go out tomorrow night and have our special night, which we were going to do anyway because it's Friday and it's the weekend. So thank ton for letting me play with the boys.
Very nice.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's get to it. Paul, I want you to give us a little tee up for those who may not be as familiar with PM Entertainment. Look, back in the day, we had some of that straight to video love that we loved going into the video store and looking at those VHS cassettes, and those covers were everything to get
okay,
to
I can do that. Can I, though? It's been eating at my craw since I listened to the other night. I just have a few notes about Steel Frontier that I wanted to straighten.
Oh, fantastic. Let's hear
it. If nobody minds.
No, please.
Okay, great.
Very curious.
Okay, so the first thing is about the music. As as Joe mentioned too, I had everything to do with the music. It was my favorite score. I worked closely with John Gonzalez. How we came up with that sound, though, I mean, I had always imagined that Arabic sounding score, even with the Arabic vocalist. It just seemed to fit right in with our post-apocalyptic Western feel. But what I did was, and I often did this, I would temp certain music on the cut and then see how well it worked. Well, on this movie, I temped a band called Dead Can Dance, popular back in the 90s, and Enigma, who you're all probably familiar with. And they worked marvelously. So we basically wrote everything based on a Dead Can Dance or an Enigma song, mainly Enigma. And then we found the vocalist. He was a true Arab vocalist. He did what we had him do. A lot of it was just, that he did on his own. And, we're sitting there in the studio with thumbs up as he did it. So yeah, that's I'm most proud of that score. That was, I love it. I love it. Okay, what else? Okay, the harmonica that Joe Lara played in the tunnel that night. Now, yes, we did record that live, but we replaced it after the fact with what was his name? The on-set photographer who also played the harmonica. Because I'm thinking about it, I can't remember. You don't remember his name, Joe? You mentioned
Greg
it.
Diegler?
Greg Diegler. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. He had, Joe did a fine job, but Greg is a pro, and it was done in the studio, so it sounded so much better than using what was recorded on the set. So Greg did replace that. And then just real quick, the stuntman who got hurt, who got burned coming out of the window, that was a comedy of errors. And there is a specific person, I won't mention his name, who can kind of take most of the blame. But to begin with, the water truck was never turned on prior to the stunt. Okay, the pin wasn't pulled out of the extinguisher prior to the stunt. So if those two things, it sounded like a crazy set when you guys were talking the other night, and it wasn't as crazy as although I must say that the piece of cement and the T-bar or whatever it's called that went over our heads, that was pretty crazy. That was
that was legit.
That did happen.
That was but the
what happened? The T-bar?
Not T-bar, what's it called?
Rebar.
The
rebar.
Over people's heads. It hit the stuntman's truck.
Yeah.
And took out his truck. That was pretty crazy. And then the guy training the Brahma Bull miles away did get gored when the explosion went off, and he did sue us. And what else was there I wanted to say about that? Oh yeah, one of the reasons it didn't go off right away, and we had to
plunger
cut. We had to cut like twice with all these high-speed cameras rolling, burning film, of course, negative back then, was what's his name again, Joe? The effects guy?
Don Powers?
Don Powers decided, because it seemed to be that kind of a movie, that he would use a plunger instead of just joining the electrical things, you put one wire on another. Well, he decided and he showed me and Rick to get an actual plunger. So the first take, we go up, we're ready, roll camera, action. He plunges, nothing happens. We look at each other. Should we cut? He plunges again. Harder and harder. We go, cut. And then I think we tried it one more time, same thing happened. Then we said, no, go to the old-fashioned way, or the tried and true way. Use the little box that you connect one wire to the other. And he did that, and it went off. Of course, it went off with way too much, whatever they use.
Too much dynamite.
And so it crumbled.
A little bit.
It didn't fall over like it was supposed to with our hero running away from it. The whole thing you can see it in the shot.
Yeah.
The bricks separate.
Yeah, the bomb just poof.
Yeah,
it's an incredible shot. I mean,
it's so powerful.
Really was.
What you got works better The strength and the power that took was insane.
Yeah.
It was insane. And if Brian has it, Brian was filming it from another angle. I'm standing.
Oh yeah,
next to him.
Brian, I'm dying to see
That
the
went-
behind
oh.
the scenes footage. You kept saying if we're lucky it'll happen, but can't we just personally look at it sometime?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I'll share with you on the Google Drive. It was unbelievable. I dug it back out. I had digitized it years ago, wanting to do this at some point. So I just fast tracked it, assembled it together, took out all the walking around with the camera.
You could feel it go through you, though.
Oh,
You
we
could feel
we were on the roof of this building, like so far away, and we kind of heard you guys saying, fire in the hole, and I just kept pointing it and waiting, and finally I'm just like, and right as I turned back to Jim Cody and Stacy, boom, we heard this. Of course, it probably came to me a second late because of the Doppler effect, but I spun around and there it was, man. It was falling down, and Jim Cody's like, "Holy smokes!" It was so good.
When the smoke approached, and then when the smoke surrounded us and passed us, things became silent. And the sun was struck. And it was eerie. It was so eerie. And like you said, I wondered how much asbestos we were breathing in.
Oh my gosh! Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, I took plenty of my lungs running after your cars at the beginning. We pointed that out because the red caddy disappeared the day we drove into, the town. And so it's like, Chicken Boy, run behind that car. Bacchus, ride shotgun in somebody else's car.
Yeah. We must have not had the Cadillac that day for some reason.
Yeah, everyone was looking for it, right, Jim Cody? We couldn't find it.
I know. I don't know if you saw that part, Paul. But at some point, the Cadillac got stolen, and two different people called me from PM Entertainment, accusing me of taking it. They wanted.
You're kidding.
Hey, no. They're going, hey, you really like that car? You really, no, it's a great car. Well, it was stolen. You know where it is.
I may have been aware, but I forgot.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And then like a couple of days later, they called me again. Yeah. You want to confess to stealing the Cadillac? No, hold on.
I mean, plus, if he's going to steal it, it'll be at the end of the movie. We have scenes to shoot.
Come on, man. I needed it still.
I remember. I just forgot what I was going to ask Jim. So I was there in the fight when Chicken Boy gets killed and then Joe Lara punches you out the window.
Yeah.
Didn't we have a pad there?
There was.
No, me and it was.
I thought there was one big pad.
Joe didn't go out the window with me. That's the stunt man.
Jeff.
Right.
That stunt because that was the window seal was like 3 feet deep all the way around, so it was unforgiving. And so we hung on to each other, and the guy, he was very suddenly goes, "You ready?" Yeah. Bam! And out you go in one take, and it was a really, really long fall. But we did land on something that he had rigged.
Okay, there had to be something. I just cannot imagine.
It wasn't like a real fall pad.
A real pad, sure.
Was
Okay.
it box
pad or something.
Yeah.
Sometimes
for
we
whatever
use
reason,
boxes.
it's like we were up against the clock and yada yada yada. And we did it once. We jumped out, but it was we had to run several steps, hang on to each other, go out, and then the biggest thing he said, okay, we got to avoid landing on each other. Yeah,
Right.
I
A little thing.
we should try to do that. But it's like, what the fuck are you talking about? We're not practicing. We're just just give it a shot. And it came out well,
It came out great.
Oh,
it
it's
was,
such a good stunt.
that was my asbestos moment. We hit all of that dust into my
Delightful.
everything.
Well, that was one of the first scenes we shot in the movie, as I remember.
No, it was early on. It was.
And okay, so this was interesting. So the editor that I chose to cut the movie calls me after he received that, and he said, "Wow, what are you guys doing out there? I've never seen anything like this from PM." And, that excited me anyway. I mean, he said it in an optimistic way.
Fight
That
stunts,
interesting
to
hearing
cars, to explosions, all the practical stuff you guys had in Lens is really amazing. I go back and I look at it now, and I think about other stuff that I've been in and looked at and that have been around. Nothing's better than this. As far as any metal on metal collision the weight of an explosion, the weight of a car wreck, the weight of metal on metal. It's not CG, man. They can't.
Yeah.
They can't fake. They can't fake weight.
Yeah, and we unfortunately
It doesn't seem
because it was 120 degrees, the gyroscope on the camera and the helicopter stopped working after we got Joe,
I heard about that.
a half a dozen shots. I mean, we got the least amount of copter shots for any car chase ever, and that was so disappointing.
Did the helicopter not get lift because of the heat?
No, it was the gyroscope for the camera.
Yeah.
So we couldn't operate the camera, unfortunately.
Yeah. I've been on planes where we couldn't land because the heat was coming off the tarmac so much.
Yeah, that was,
it was about 125 degrees.
Quite a bummer. And there were several other stunts that didn't quite go off, like the car that just throws up the big sand. That was supposed to roll. You know, there were several disappointing, and then how many times the bus rolled, as Joe mentioned, it's supposed to. He was promising us to roll it 3, 4, 5, 6 times, and it rolled like a time and a half. But of course, the magic of editing made that work.
Yeah,
I do like that big sand blast though. When the car
it was cool. It was like a wave of sand.
Man.
But if that would have happened, and it would have flown through the air and tumbled, you know.
We watched that UPS truck fly up and just.
That was a good one.
I'm like, man, that is a boss stunt, man.
That was
the craziest stunt in it, and I've looked at it several times. I do not know how they did it. Is the guy that he flies off he's flying off the motorbike. The motorbike's gone ahead of him. He's flying off the motorbike. He's on fire. The motorbike explodes, and while on fire, he seemingly goes crashing right into the explosion. I don't know how there was any of him left. Paul and Joe, do you remember how that was done?
We weren't there. We were doing first unit, and Rick was directing that second unit action scene.
Oh wow!
Yeah, I mean, we were there for some of the chase, but not that point.
I mean, that's an incredible stunt.
Yeah.
Incredible stunt. And Paul, just to bring it back to kind of earlier where we were kind of talking about PM Entertainment and sort of how it got started and behind the scenes and things. I think I asked you before, and I think I may have asked Rick in my interview, but was there a discussion when Steel Frontier was sort of being put together and as Joe was writing it and everyone was sort of talking about it and you guys were deciding to direct and stuff, was there a discussion about making this different consciously, spending more time on this a little bit, making this a bit bigger, or just because there is a definite feel and vibe to Steel Frontier that while I love all of PM stuff, this is like PM elevated a little bit. And I wonder if you would...
I don't think that we really spoke with Joseph and Rick about making it that much different. They knew that Joe and I were running with an idea, and they trusted us. And we went to Rick's house, and we watched Sergio Leone movies. Remember that, Joseph or Joe?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, and we
for a few dollars more.
Sergio Leone movies. So that much became part of the whole process. Watching those with Rick at night in his theater room in his castle in Bell Canyon. But we didn't really discuss it with Joe. You mentioned Joe that Joe said he really liked the movie. I never even got that from him at the end. Only that it's not selling as well as we had hoped it would sell, because our buyers were used to big action in the middle of the city,
right?
Buildings, and suddenly they're out in the desert. And even though it cost us a pretty penny to build and then destroy the whole village of New Hope, they said we don't see the money on the screen. Even though I can say it cost us like about $800,000 to shoot that. Without
oceans alone. I mean, the cars and wow.
And we knew how to do it as cheaply as possible, of course.
Yeah. But what they call independent film these days from A24 or Blumhouse or whatever, these are multi-million-dollar productions. This wasn't even $1 million. You know what I mean? And I defy anyone to watch this movie and not think that it isn't a $20, $30, $40 million movie. I mean, it looks incredible.
Yeah, we were talking about
incredible.
cinematography is
Yeah.
fantastic in this
Yeah,
film.
I think it all falls down to the fact that the script that we came up with, that Joe wrote, I helped a little bit here and there,
Sure.
had magic to it. You know, it had those ingredients that you want in a good script. And so the people involved were able to grab onto it and make it their own, you know, and it's like they inserted themselves into what was happening. And I mean, you could see it. The people were so enthused, you know, and so there was magic happening on set based on such a great script. And of course, what they saw happening on set too. The freaking plane fuselage.
Oh, that's beautiful. What a
know.
set piece, man. What are they talking
When
about? They
Joe
don't see
told
the
me-
money.
when Joe
It's a
came up-
freaking airplane.
You know, watching the film, it really the actors and what you were talking about, Paul, was how they just got it. It was like, you know, fitting into a glove. I thought the actors were superb all throughout the film, and the writing of it was just perfect for each individual. I mean,
Yeah. One of my favorite
Jim
scenes.
Cody Williams and Brian James. Wow. I mean, they just blew me away.
Everybody, your scene, your "Do I Need to Run" scene, that was gold. I love that scene.
I love that scene.
Oh my
I
God.
just-
Robert
That's classic Bobby O'Reilly right there.
Robert
Yeah.
O'Reilly scared me.
and here's a for.
Oh,
Hey!
Now my dog ate a lot of it, but
Along with the homework.
but it survived somehow.
I knew
Right.
that.
That's awesome.
It's
I
an
knew that
old-
when
was
we were
50s
shooting that scene, that
Stetson.
execution scene, Robert O'Reilly, and he says, if you cross us, we'll eat you alive. That night, Robert was sort of possessed by his character, and he genuinely scared me. And I was thinking, he remembered. I was thinking, I hope he remembers there's a line between him and his character. Because I didn't see that line that
Not really.
night, and
Not
it genuinely
really.
scared me.
not really.
It really is my favorite character, you know, and my favorite is westerns. Always has been, and thank you for doing what you did. The writing was just exquisite. And
I
the
directed a
film-
Western about almost coming on 2 years now. Before we get off, I got to let you know the name of it, and I'd love for you to see it and tell me what you think.
Okay.
Now, I do, Bob, since you brought this up, I think this is a great opportunity because I'd love to hear from you about the casting process. So I know that's a big deal for you guys, and everyone's been saying what an amazing cast across the board this was, even down to the extras who all seem so present. It was incredible. So Bob and Jim Cody, can you tell me what your audition process was? And then the directors chime in and you let me know. It sounded like from the get-go, you knew instantly who was going to be who. So I want to see if that lines up. Bob, what was it like when you went in to audition?
Well, I just I don't remember all of it because it was 31 years ago, but I do remember I read a couple of characters, and Evermore was exactly who I was as a Western character. I mean, like I say, it was a glove that fit, and I mean it in it was the total embodiment of what I love to do as an actor. Is just, especially in Westerns. I mean, you can say so few things and do so much, and that was Evermore. It was like, and the gun playing. You know, we were back in the day when you could practice with guns on the set. You can't do it anymore.
Yeah.
I had that gun constantly. I was just, I was working it, all the time. But in the audition, I believe I brought the hat.
Yeah.
I oftentimes in any kind of Westerns, I'll bring my hat, and it's a 1950s Stetson. So it was old even then, but now it's really ancient. And my dog Guinness ate it one night.
Darn you, Guinness.
Yeah.
I will say this so that you guys will love this. I have footage of Bob practicing with his gun.
Oh,
Oh,
wow.
get out of here.
Oh, it's so
Wow.
good. It's so good. And then what I did was I would then cut to the shot of you on screen
Right.
shooting the
Yeah.
gun. It was just like I couldn't believe what I had on camera.
What you have should be in that re-release, the Blu-ray
I-
release from that. Is
well,
it German?
Yeah.
Yeah,
The
let's just
company?
say it's being offered to Claudio, and should the Blu-ray gods shine upon us, which I feel like they are, it is totally going to be on there. That's
Yeah,
what
Paul,
we're pushing.
we've offered the commentary and behind the scenes stuff, and hopefully even this. I mean, he could have this as well if he
Oh
wants.
yeah.
You could.
That would be great. I
Because
love
we
it.
did
I love
nothing.
I love
The whole-
hearing that, Bob, because I remember watching you practice with that gun, because you were the one who liked to pull the thing back and
Yeah.
shoot it like that, like bang,
Right.
bang,
Yeah,
bang.
yeah.
Instead of
Yeah.
just
I
pulling
remember
the
that.
trigger. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. I mean, they didn't let Chicken Boy shoot a gun. I don't know why. So I don't know what it feels like.
I definitely would have ducked.
Although Bacchus gave me his gun at the end shot, and I was
Periodically,
pretending to shoot.
I think Chicken Boy was afraid of guns.
Yeah, unless he was playing with them, boom, 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 boom. Jim Cody, what was it like for yourself?
Well,
In there?
I have a make or break look when I walk into an audition. Either they won't see nobody else, or there's just too much goddamn Jim Cody, and it won't be me. But I gotta tell you, here's my love for Bobby O'Reilly. Bob and I met like 8 years earlier on a Western called Desperado down in Tucson, where we became fast friends and misbehavers, drinking beer at 5:30 in the morning, misbehaving like that. And O'Reilly told me that he goes, nobody else looks like you, can do what you do, and never shave off that fucking mustache. So they're still there. And when I walked in to audition for Steel Frontier, you always know. I mean, that's the thing now. There are no in-person auditions anymore, and I really, really, really hate that. You don't know if you're resonating with anybody. You don't know, because you put it on tape. You don't know if they look at the damn tape. You don't know anything. You just kind of, if you walk into the room and you're on when you come through the door, and you are on. And I knew when I came through the door, okay, I'm in the ballpark. I have a post-apocalyptic look now. And and I just remember a couple of scenes. If you look like this, I can underplay things effectively. I don't have to yell. And I underplayed some scenes, and it resonated. And I got the thing then. I remember the table read well. We had it in one of the warehouses. We didn't have a table. We did have chairs in a circle. And I remember Bobby there, and he had the hat on during the table read, because he just looked over and he just smiled at me, because like I said, we'd been misbehaving. We were buddies from back in Tucson. So I was so happy about that I get to make a film with a guy. We had a great time together before, and from all of that, even at the table read is when, especially because when I looked at the script, and I told you this before, that I said, who are they going to get to do this Chicken Boy thing? This is, come on, man. I mean,
on paper,
you just got to commit 110% to this. You got to be all in. And then at the table read, you just started doing it. You're taking the space. You're on, in that warehouse and going, okay, this is the guy. This is the guy. This is because all of my scenes are with you. I am every scene I got.
Yeah.
You are right. You're on my hip, and so I'm going. Okay, this is going to be good. Because if it was somebody who's like, okay, they're not going to really get after it, because the script I thought was really, really well done, and it was thoughtful. Somebody really considered what's going on with each character, what they're saying, what they're talking about, what they're putting over. And then when you guys shot it, and when you guys put it together, I was looking at we looked at it last night when we were watching it, and at the poker table, and you guys went in close on everybody at the poker table.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody at the poker table, and it was a great reintroduction, a reiteration of where everybody is then, and you see the individuals that are making up this motley crew, and it was just so many things were just smart about that. But on all of that, you're looking at how well it was cast. Look at each one of these guys, and everybody is throwing hard. Everybody was all in.
Yeah.
But that's the credit to Paul and to Joe. You guys fostered that environment on the set. Everybody was like, okay, I can contribute. I feel free to discuss this with anybody else. Nobody's getting shut down, and it shows. It shows in the end product. So
Yeah,
I mean, to me, from the time I got the job all the way through, it was an epic experience. And so thank you all for that. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And I was going to ask you guys, because obviously Paul and Joe, you're also both in it. You both appear in it as well. And my question was going to be, often when you're taken out of Los Angeles proper, so you're off on location and everyone's kind of staying with each other. They're not all going home or onto other auditions or whatever in the evening. They're all hanging out together. Do you think that helped to, and probably obviously, but helped foster that great ensemble that the kind of Death Riders are in the movie? But also the fact, Paul and Joe, did you see that and then say to yourselves, oh, we'd love to be part of that as well, and kind of put yourself in it? Or was that always the plan?
You want to do the first answer, Joe?
I don't think it would. I don't remember us like insisting that we were going to play roles. I remember it that I had written so many roles into that script, and it was almost like I think Rick wanted us to play roles to help with the budget. I remember playing those roles basically because we didn't want to hire more actors.
The way I used to
remember it, Paul?
The way I used to get killed in so many movies, I was always a bad guy, and I would take a squib, and I would make sure I went down well, because I was going to have to then edit it, and make sure it was not squib, beat, reaction. They all go on 3. Everybody goes on 3, and pray that it happens.
I think I've died in everything I've ever done.
And you do it so well.
I could put a reel together of deaths in the last 15 minutes.
Hey, Bob.
As far as
I remember reading people for Green Street. I remember reading actors for Green Street.
I remember wanting to die soon because I wanted to get back next to the camera. We didn't have video assist.
Yeah.
Every shot was, how was it, Rick? How was it, Kenny? Which is so completely foreign from what we do nowadays, of course. We can see it, and it's so much better. But as far as we were so, I think Joe also, we were so exhausted after a shooting day that whether it was, definitely on the night shoots, of which there were a good amount, we'd get back to the hotel and get in bed and sleep the sleep of the dead. And even a lot of the day shoots, I think which isn't usual, but I don't think we had energy to party or to talk or anything. We pretty much needed to sleep and then get back to the set.
There was a little partying.
I don't think I was on many of the night shoots. I was on mostly day. So Jim Cody and I drank at night. So
yeah. Well, I
got light outside when we were done.
Well, the saloon was a night shoot. Yeah. We had several nights.
I want to add into, because I know the audience doesn't know. I'll add in what happened when I came into audition as well. So this character on page was very strange. And to me, it wasn't about. I think Joe, you'd mentioned people were coming in clucking, or they were like really downplaying or whatever. And I never saw that. He wasn't a chicken. I just took characteristics like, the head, like for whatever trauma happened to this person, it was his movements that got it. And of course, I had the luck of having red hair, which I think gives it sort of that a little extra chick love. And I remember telling you guys, because once I realized I was just going to go for it. And I didn't even know you guys were in there. I thought it was just Adrienne and Michelle. When I walked in, and that's our casting director, y'all. And when I went in, and you two were there as well, and she says, "These are the directors." I'm like, "Oh, okay. I got one shot at this, to show what I think this is." And I just said, "Can I use all this space right here?" And I remember you guys looked at each other like, yes. Like, what's about to happen? And then I just messed my hair up like this. So my hair was just boom, sticking out like that. And then I just started. And that's.
And we
And
knew
then
within
I
30 seconds, less than 30 seconds, we knew this was Chicken Boy. There was no
Oh,
doubt. Did you realize
really?
that? I mean, by the looks on our faces.
Let me tell you, here's the thing. I've never been so sure of an audition in my life. And when I left, you guys left me hanging for 2 weeks. I didn't even know I had the part. And then finally I'm like, I don't understand why I don't even at least have a callback. And then finally my agent called and she tried to slow play. And she goes, yeah, you know, that thing you've been asking me about, you won't stop bothering me, chicken. I'm like, yes. She's like, well, and she tried to sound all depressed. I'm like, oh, you gotta be kidding me. And then she paused and she goes, you got the part. I'm like, oh, don't do that. Yeah.
It's hard to imagine you didn't see it in our faces when, I mean, we must have been all smiles when you were doing your thing.
Yeah.
Well,
So
I seem to remember all three of you guys and Adolfo, the four of you. I remember it as being, oh, those are the guys. I remember thinking with the three of you and Adolfo that that's it. That's who we're casting. So we probably just had so much going on with a production, which was a big production, that everything was on its schedule. But I think we knew right away with all three of you and Adolfo that those are the guys that we're casting.
And because you mentioned that you thought it would just be Adriana Michelle. No, it was me and Joe, and that's part of the reason that everything turned out the way it did. I can't imagine just letting Adriana Michelle. I mean, not that she wasn't completely wonderful, but we had to do it. We had to, you know, it was in our minds. If we had
I'm
to
so
been
happy
there,
too. Yeah.
I can't imagine anybody. Well, I mean, I guess there's just some wonderful casting directors out there, and they can do it. I guess.
Well, I think Adriana was one of them.
Yeah, I mean, you're basically
so helpful on that
director
show.
when you're making those decisions.
I remember.
I do remember one question that was asking me. You know, like I got done. I'm walking out, and somebody asked me, "Go, Jim, what do you weigh?"
Yeah, when you're on top of Stacy, we had to know.
I said, "Yeah, 260." Good. Okay.
Good to know. Now, for our directors, we have a great question here from Hisham. It says, "Do you guys have any plans for a Steel Frontier 2?"
What we wouldn't give for that.
Oh man!
Look, we've already noticed last night there was no Chicken Boy in those crates. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
There was no corpse.
His corpse did not get desecrated. You know,
Chick lives. That's all we're saying.
We talked about a sequel back in the day. I remember I bounced it off. I remember, Paul, maybe you remember this, but I remember saying, hey, if we do another one, we'll base it off the Pony Express.
I remember some talk of that, but okay, we wrapped. I went to Hawaii with Evelyn for a much needed rest. I came back, and then Chris Werlin, the editor, said, "Oh, you haven't heard, have you?" I said, "No, what?" He goes, "It's not selling as well as they had hoped." And that was it. There was no talk of a sequel after.
Oh, wow.
I heard that much.
And now look at it. It's legendary.
Well, it's so many people's favorites. You saw that like I said, in the obituary, Joe's son-in-law, that's his favorite show. And he didn't know it was, he didn't do it for me. He didn't know I directed it.
Wow.
Along with Joseph.
Yeah, it's interesting. When I first got into PM Entertainment, the titles you hear most, obviously Skyscraper is mentioned a lot because it's kind of just sort of iconic, and Anna Nicole Smith and all that kind of stuff. But really, it's the three Gary Daniels movies, Rage, Recoil, and Riot, that you hear about. If you're an action fan, if you're like
because of Spiro.
Right, and but also because of Gary Daniels, he sort of he went on and had a career in straight to video action films. So if you come to it later, those are the ones you hear. Yep. I don't even remember necessarily how I came across Steel Frontier, other than I was like, I just have to now watch every single PM Entertainment movie out there, and I think it was because I hadn't seen a Joe Lara one yet. And I found it on DVD, and I was like, "Oh, I'll put it in." Because Joe Lara did a few with you guys, so it was like, I'll start with this one. And within 5 minutes, I was like, "Oh, okay, this is different. This is bigger, stranger, and seems a little more like there was a and I don't mean this in disregard to any of the other movies, because I love all the other movies as well, but there seemed to be a focus to this one.
Yes, there was Hart. And it's so funny you say bigger, because I don't really necessarily see it as bigger, because there were so many car chases that were much bigger and more accomplished than what we saw. Not that what we did wasn't good, but what we had, I think it all boils down to the script. It always boils down to the script. So you start with that foundation and latch onto it, and it creates its own life form. And that's why it stood out, I think.
When Joseph first pitched the story or the idea of it to me, when he said we're going to do a post-apocalyptic film.
So Joseph pitched it to you.
He told me, he said, this is going to be this is going to be one of our small films, maybe $100,000 budget at the most. And I said, okay, fine. And then
that's insane. That's impossible for what we're doing.
Well, it kept, after I turned in the script, the budget, I mean, I had nothing to do with this, but the budget just kept getting bigger and bigger. They kept adding more and more stunts. And pretty soon it became one of their more expensive films, possibly their most expensive film to date.
At the time.
At that time, yeah. But I don't know. I think I've always attributed it to they must have liked the script, because it wasn't going to be a big budget film at first. It was going to be very, very small, minuscule. And
that's crazy, though.
Going.
I mean, I did Sunset Strip in 1992 for $80,000, but it was talking heads and girls dancing. You know, and it was $80,000.
Well, I want to take a second to jump in and read some of our comments here. It says, when will you show off the behind the scenes footage? I don't know, but like I said, we are working on a deal that hopefully we're going to get these included in the Blu-ray. So when this comes out, y'all, it is going to be like fantastic. If they take all the things we've been doing here, the commentary, this, that, I gave them all my photos. I shot a lot of on-set photos. I gave them those. So hopefully those will be a part of the deal. And then, of course, my friend here, Adam, is here. He says, I never would have known about the film if it weren't for Chicken Boy. We're like YouTube buddies. He said, I enjoyed it thoroughly. Hope to see the upgrade. This one also says, Jay Weinrub, I think it would be cool if Steel Frontier was a TV series. I totally agree. Also, question about deleted scenes. I don't know. I heard that all the stuff is just lost. Like what's there is what's there, right?
Yeah. Well, there's no scenes we didn't use. There's takes, of course, and whatnot. Right. But yeah, we don't know where they exist. I'm surprised that these guys got a hold of the IPs and the INs.
There are scenes that we didn't use though, because if you remember, we shot a whole sequence of Bruce Morrow playing the preacher where he's giving a sermon. That scene got cut out.
Okay. All right. Sounds right.
I wrote a sermon for Bruce.
We didn't put it in because it was just too long, huh? Too lengthy.
Yeah.
Boring.
There was actually too when Joe gets branded and we're all beating the crap out of him. There was a moment where I jump on his back and I write him, but you guys like cut away from it.
I was there, of course, for the whole editing. I had Chris edit, and then me and Chris sit and we locked the movie. I mean, we made it too long, could cut out 10, 12, 15 minutes easily. That's one of the worst things a director does when they're not sensitive to that. I learned my lesson big time. But I mean, that sounds like a wonderful moment. And I can only imagine there had to be a good reason why we didn't include that. It may have not matched or something. We would have had to gone a minute or 30 seconds, whatever, building up to it in order to put you in the right position for you to jump on him.
Maybe, because remember, it was right after he gets punched. Yeah, and the blood goes flying out of his mouth. We went to an overhead shot and then dissolved out. And I was like, oh man! I remember sitting in our premiere, and I was just waiting for writing Joe Lara.
Well, it sounds like it would have been a great thing to see, but we must have had some kind of reason at the time.
Maybe the overhead shot just played better to end the scene or something.
This is my sister's here, y'all. Hello, darling. Love me some Chicken Boy. See, we got everybody coming out tonight. We'd love to see more tech in Steel Frontier. I know we had some cool tech stuff.
Oh, besides the water purifier?
Yeah. Cool.
And the voice activated motorbike.
That was genius.
The Gatling gun too.
Angel, the machine
gun.
Yep.
And way ahead of its time.
Yeah, and the tool case, that was. So, Brian, you mentioned the beginnings of PM. Do we want to jump on that real quick or
Yes,
not?
yeah, just a quick little so I love that we sort of, it's like a James Bond movie. We just jumped right in and started doing the action, and now let's have a little time in the middle here just to
I'll
catch
try to
everybody up.
encapsulate it really quick. The bottom line was, it was the perfect time. The timing was perfect. They had just begun VHS, well, Betamax or Betacam, and then VHS, which was new after Betacam, comes out, and suddenly every corner had a video rental place. That coincided with the formation of City Lights. The first movies we made, we would take it directly to the actual little mom and pop store and try and sell 1, 2, 3, a half a dozen tapes. What do you want? So we would sell individual tapes to all these stores across the city. And eventually we got this one guy, I think his name was Dennis, to start doing it instead of us. Well, I didn't do it, but I don't know who did it initially, but then they got somebody else to start doing that. And then when we had a new idea, we'd create a one sheet, like a poster, and we'd take that around to the video stores and say, would you like to buy this movie if we make it? And based on the one sheet and possibly who might be in it, they'd say yay or nay. And it was almost like a pre-sale to these freaking mom and pop video stores. But there were enough of them that it got us going until eventually we were able to sell to the big distributors, after a while, when they realized that they had something and we were serious and we were good at what we did. And we were learning. We were all learning. The beginning movies kind of sucked compared to what they became, but we got good. We got good on the job. I mean, I can't believe some of the first movies, probably the first half a dozen, we didn't use a sound facility. It was all freaking production sound. Except occasionally, I had a reel-to-reel with some sound effects on it, and I'd throw those in occasionally to the online from the 1-inch master that we made another 1-inch master. I mean, it was crazy, but thank God we had enough movies to cut our teeth on and start to get good at what we did.
And if anyone's interested in the City Lights movies, just FYI, some of the more horror-leaning ones are being released by terror-vision.com. And I believe they're about to do Dialogue or Death. I think it's called Dialogue.
Death by Dialogue, yes.
Death by Dialogue, that's it. But they've done Dance or Die. They've done...
Newly Deads.
Yeah, Newly Deads and Hollowgate. So those are coming out in America. And then the PM stuff is coming out in Switzerland and Germany.
Yeah, I did an interview with the guy for Newly Deads, actually. And then I had to watch it prior to refresh my memory. And oh my God, how painful that was. Mainly because of the lack of sound mixing. And then even the lack of musical, knowledge, experience to work with the composer and ask him to put music in certain places. My chops were not created at that time. So it's total.
Paul, when you started editing, Paul, were you on Avid from the start, or were you actually?
No. We cut analog. I'm cutting from 1 3/4-inch deck to the next.
Oh yeah, I did that.
It was crazy with an edit controller, and then we're shooting mostly just. In the beginning, gunshot action, you'd want to make 1, 2, 3 frame edits sometimes. And so you put it into the pre-roll, and then it comes back to make the edit. And sometimes it didn't make that on the right place. So then you'd have to cover it over again with what was there, and then pray that it wouldn't make it.
And the thing about linear editing, for those who don't know, is you have to just do it as you go. Because you can't go back and tighten something unless you skip a generation, like when you're doing it on tape. I use those RM450s, the Sonys.
Exactly. That's what we use.
Yeah.
But when Avid came out, oh my God, how wonderful. And nonlinear editing comes out. What a wonderful, wonderful invention. And now we can do exactly what we wanted.
Exactly. Over and over.
Ad nauseum. Bubble and just think what you wanted to edit. Just, make it happen with no problems whatsoever. Nobody fighting against you. No mechanical thing fighting against you. You just got what you wanted when you wanted it.
Now, I do want to ask, now Jim Cody's vanished. Hopefully he'll pop back up. But I want to ask everybody here. So, Bob, we'll start with you. On this movie, this is a really just I got some questions in from the audience, so I'm sharing some of these. They said, is there anything that you do different on this film if you could go back and do it? If it's just one thing?
Not at all. As a matter of fact, it's one of the few films that I would say I nailed it. I mean, I did what I wanted to do, and the character fit me, and I met the character, and we just went forward. And I just, I'm very critical of my own work, and I loved doing it. Some of the scenes, are just working with Lara. We were perfect together because we really talked to each other. We really used a connection that we had in conflict, and it was. So the answer is no. I wouldn't have changed anything.
That's so great to hear you say that, Bob, because for me too, like I think of this role all the time, from the casting all the way to when we wrapped. And you Paul and Joe, you gave us like this great playground to have a great time and be creative and use our talents in. And I feel like I did exactly everything I wanted to do, and it came across well. And like, and a lot of things too, like the tire place, when we first hit that tire thing, I was like, oh, look at this set. My brain is like, did they do this? I'm like, no, I'm sure these tires were already here, because this is too many tires. This is a lot of tires. And I forget which of you said, but you just said, go play on those tires, figure something out. And you see me in the background just doing this thing. And I'm like, I hope this is where I just tuned in to crazy, and whatever was crazy for this, but normal for this character, but crazy to people.
Which led to the culmination of the scene where you die. I mean, the way you went insane, talking to just the universe, rattle the bones, blah, 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 machine gunning it, and then raising, and then boom, the thing in your forehead, the BB in your forehead.
Yeah, what I watch. Exactly. And I remember you guys gave me great direction on that day, which is, okay, up until now, you've done a lot of good humorous stuff. You've been sort of the comic relief, but in this moment, this is where it all happens. You're intense. It's insane. This isn't about getting the laugh. And I knew exactly what you were asking for. So I love that direction. And then I believe it was Rick that was on camera. He put that thing right here. And when I tell the audience, it was right here in my face. I've never had a camera so close, to the point where the what do you call it? The lens box that was around it was in my way of Billy Sullivan. I could not see him. So I just had to pick, there was a screw inside of the box, and I just focused on that screw so I could just do that moment. And it was great.
That scene was the most intimidating scene to direct for me, because of how serious it was. And I remember going to Stacy the night before and saying, look, how anything you have to say about this scene, I want to hear it. I want to hear any and all of your concerns. And the way it was handled on set, particularly by Jim Cody, it was so professional. And as tense as the scene is, the shoot that day on the set that day was not tense. It was a very relaxed atmosphere, as that's the way I remember it. And I remember it being very professional, and everybody was in a good mood. And when we were done with that day, I was very relieved. It went really well, thanks to the professionalism of all you guys, particularly Jim Cody, because he had to be so aggressive. But it really nailed that scene, and it went really well. It wasn't uncomfortable at all to shoot.
Because we knew we had something. We knew we were kind of making magic. When you walk away and you got something special. At least you hope and you pray, but you kind of know.
And you said something interesting, how relaxed it was, and that's so important in filmmaking, because you either feel that on a set or you don't, and it really is like a magic when you have that relaxation with the actors on a set, and that's it's all around. It's when it's all around, it's totally magic for the whole film too.
Well, and there were so many working parts on that set. There was so many different departments and different people and details going on at one time. It was like a circus. And I don't ever remember it being too chaotic. I remember one day it got really kind of crazy when we were shooting that us against all six of us against him. That scene got kind of crazy, trying to pull all those elements together with so many actors. I mean, I think there was like 8 or 9 actors in one scene in one shot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, lots of actors makes it much more difficult, of course, the more actors you have. But the ending scene of the movie, that got really stressful when Rick came on the set. Rick came on the set and he said, "Listen, you got 1,500 feet, whatever the number was, of film to shoot. You shoot it in that, you don't got any more." And then he got in his car and left. And we were there with Penny shooting. And I was counting down on the counter on the film, every take, every setup, watching it go down and stop. Cut it.
Yeah, cut.
You know
what
I
scene
found
was that, Paul?
So, Paul, who was shooting if Rick left? Was
Ken
shooting
Blakey.
then?
Yeah,
Ken had taken it on. Yeah, okay.
He shot that whole finale scene with them on the ground, and
so that's that scene you're talking about is when that
scene. That's when Rick drove up at the beginning of it. He was pissed for some reason.
I don't
remember exactly what it was. Maybe he thought we were taking too much. I don't know, too much time. But what's interesting to me is shooting in this situation at PM. It was always a rush. It always seemed like that got stressful because we needed to get it in the can and we needed to move on. And it was always settling. But I don't remember that it felt that much like that on this movie. Like we're rush. Get it done. Come on. For you actors, well, Robert, and I guess we lost Jim. Did you feel that much?
No, I never felt rushed at all, and I've been, through the years, rushed on certain projects that I've done, and I never felt that on this set. I've literally been told, you get one take,
right?
And you have to go through this glass, and we don't have any other glass. So,
oh God!
And we're shutting down the set no matter what happens. So, there was never any of that on your set.
Thank goodness.
It was just, it was wonderful, and it was relaxing. And that's the perfect way to make films through the years that I've found.
I just remembered one real quick. One more. A note I made on the thing the other night. You guys did, Joe, when you mentioned you didn't know why the machine blew up when
Kane Hodder fell
to it. Yeah. In my mind, well, this was just in my mind. I thought, well, this machine's used to getting tires, but now we had a whole bunch of bones and a skull, and it didn't handle the bones and the skull so much, and that's why it blew up. And that was mine.
Of course.
Like the skull was sparking against the jaws of the machine or something.
Right. Yeah. For me.
Well, you know why? It's because Kane was fighting his way back out. It's not like he was like, "Come on, you want a piece of me?" And then
that
it
was
just
Kane Hodder.
Yeah.
But it's remarkable. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Brian.
I was just going to say, Bob, I'm so glad you said that. You just, I mean, I got the feels literally when you were saying that about it. It's so, you nailed it with the word comfortable. It's like, it was always comfortable. And so whenever I knew we were about to do a scene, what was great is and also the actors were very open because we would just start rehearsing the scene because we didn't have rehearsal time. So you would say, okay, this is the scene that's coming up next. And so thankfully, Jim Cody, Stacy, they're the ones I had most of my stuff with. We would just kind of run it and you guys blocked it real quick. And until you said action, we just kind of kept doing it. And then it felt that this is the way this scene is supposed to play out. Cause we only had 1 or 2 takes, Bob, without them saying you have 1 or 2 takes. We only had 1 or 2 takes. And
back then
what was interesting is most of us, I don't know if all of us did it because I wasn't, I didn't stick around in everything that I wasn't in. But what I did notice is most of us stayed in character all the time. And I love that. It's the one thing in film acting that sometimes is discouraged, and you guys never discouraged that. And it was like, and that was what was so, I mean, Brian, seemed like you were always in character. And I was, in my character, I was like, who the hell are you? I mean, I was
right. I know.
You're annoying to me,
Yes.
That's why you scared me, Bob, because you were in character so much.
Yes.
And your character was the most scary of those guys for some reason. I just thought this
He
guy,
was.
because he was kind of in charge of that little band, you know, because Bo Svensson's character didn't want anything to do with him. So your character was kind of rallied that group, and he had to be scary like that. And you pulled it off very convincing.
Yeah. It was, and in an actor's sense, it was fun doing it. It was, to take yourself dead center, and be dangerous. It was, I loved it, and relating to you was, looking at it from an outside, it was fun, but from Evermore's point of view, you were just a pain in the ass.
Oh yeah, Bob, the best, one of the first scenes I ever had was with you, and I forget who just tossed me in there. We got Jim Cody back.
Sorry, boys.
There you are.
Lose your cat again?
Yeah, no, it was a whole new calamity.
But I was telling the story, like, so Bob, you're branding one of the people in the town.
Right.
And they threw me next to you to sort of witness this branding. Yeah. And you're like, and your eyes are like, yeah, like you were just, And I don't know what, if you watch the scene, I'm just like, yeah, like I was screaming while you were burning. I'm like, what are we doing? But it was a blast, like no words, just actions. And I was just like, and I loved you. So Bob, just so you know, like I love Star Trek. I'm going to talk about some things that y'all have done. And one of the things Bob's known for is Star Trek Next Generation, playing Galron. So I was a fan of yours already. So to watch you burn that guy and I got to cackle along next to you, I'm like, this is full circle, baby.
Bob, I think you improvised that line. I'll if you cross this, I'll eat you alive. I think that you improvised that line.
I don't remember. I rarely improvise, but I may have. I just, the lines that were written for me were so perfect. I almost think maybe I didn't, but maybe I did. Yeah.
So Jim Cody, we had asked if there was anything, and Bob and I were both on the same page, which was no. But is there anything you would have done different? Any moment or any something you would have done differently, other than not being at the shootout because you needed stew for whatever reason we weren't there? Maybe that's something I would say. Where were we? Is there?
Done difference on like a performance level.
Or anything like, drove the car differently.
No, because when the work environment is like the one that you guys made, is that you're present, you're in the moment. You're not, it's like you're not trying to think ahead. You're not trying to be clever. You're not trying to twist it. You're just being honest in the moment to do it. And I like it. I like the card playing scene, and just how organic that was. And and you got big old Kane Hodder over there, just throwing hard, just getting after it. Everybody is, and everybody had their own honesty with it. It's not like okay, we're trying to fall in line and everybody's doing this like Bobby's playing. His guy was very controlled. He was better at it than these other guys. He's the smart guy at the table, and was just letting it, would let a lot of, it just happen in front of him. But then, he's got the Bobby O'Reilly eyes. He's just looking at these guys. His grin is going on. But all of that is, that there's a lot of stuff I've looked at and I'm going, on other shows I did, I'm going, oh, God, I wish I could have that back. I would, whatever. And I honestly, I don't have a Steel Frontier moment like that, just because like I say, the work environment that you guys made and you had that when you're not trying to be clever or one up somebody. You're just doing it, and I think that result shows. So
And I think, and that's why over time, it's a wonderful film. Over time, it was when it came out. For some reason, it didn't catch, but I think it's just exactly what it always was, a really good film.
Yeah.
Jim, I wanted to ask quickly, because you were off while we were talking about this particular scene, but obviously the very difficult scene that you have with Stacy, where Chicken Boy finally goes crazy and, ultimately you both die and whatever. Brian was talking about it as sort of what's interesting, as intense a scene as it was quite a comfortable scene on set. It wasn't crazy on set, but it was a very kind of crazy scene. What was your perspective of that scene, and how do you approach doing what you had to do with Stacy in that scene with, physical acting and things like that? How was that for you?
Well, it was when we got to that scene, I'd already worked with her a couple of times, and Charlie Bacchus was always after her and the thing and the deal. And anytime that the scene is going to come up, and I had to contact her in any way, we would just work on it. And she would, and in that scene though, in that whole day, she wouldn't look at me.
Mm-hmm.
She wouldn't look at me. She goes, and okay, okay, however you want to do this. And she would tell me, okay, like I got to pick her up and I got to move her around. And we did practice. She goes, I want to struggle as hard as I can. And so I can't squeeze her really hard. I mean, but I want her to know that if she struggles as hard as she can, she's safe. I'm not going to drop her. But still, I'm not going to, squeeze the life out of her. So it has to be a solid, safe embrace when I got her. And so we're working on that. And I said, okay, whatever you want to do, get into it. And she was very athletic and very strong. I mean, you can see the way she just moves, the way she does anything.
Mm-hmm.
And so that she felt good to do that, because I had 145 pounds on her. So we worked on it, and then you're working in that environment. There was all concrete, steel, broken glass. There's a big drop off right next to us.
There was a pit there.
In the stairwell that went down.
That's right. There was a big old pit.
It was like 70 feet. It went, and so and I'm, I would go through and I'm looking at all this and the thing and the deal and kicking some glass off and some dirt off, because this is where we're going to traffic through here, just to make sure that my foundation, my feet were set, because I got this person in my arms, and that's why it plays well. She is fighting as hard as she can to get away from me, and then I, like, at one point I got her in one arm and I'm looking back and I'm talking, she's screwed.
Watch me rattle your mama's fucking teeth.
Yeah. Classic Jim Cody moment.
That was my line. I don't know where I came up with that, but damn.
But see, that's what set Billy Sullivan off, Jim Cody. You shouldn't have said that, because that's what had him kill me and then go for you. So,
but she was awesome. That woman, man. I mean, she's such a brilliant actress. And she was just down for it. She could just hang. And then, I don't know how much I missed on my little vacation just now, but during the course of shooting, Bobby and Brian and Stacy and I hung out a lot.
Yeah.
And then after like 2:00 in the morning, it's just me and O'Reilly. But but she could hang with the boys. She was good company, just kind and smart, and honestly, she was such a huge component in the film, and then how sympathetic, how smart she is, how much the audience wants to root for somebody like that. That all comes through in what she does. But she I'm telling you, man, she got after it. You know,
Yeah,
because
it
I'm
was really
okay,
good.
fight as hard as you can, and she did, and I think in that scene, that shows. Yeah,
That's a great scene. Good job, man.
Yeah, you cut out when I earlier when we were talking about it a little bit, and I really give you a lot of credit for your professionalism, particularly through the whole show, but particularly doing that scene, that sensitive scene. I was very nervous about shooting that scene. That was the scene I was most intimidated by to direct, and you really made it easy for us to do that because you were completely professional. And I give you a lot of credit for keeping that day rolling as well as it did, because we not only was, I mean, it was a very intense scene, but I remember the atmosphere of shooting that scene as being pretty light and being pretty friendly with everything. You know, it wasn't at all intense the way it was on camera.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, I mean, but that other thing that she was doing, she was building up that that.
It was a big build.
Yeah.
The whole
She
thing
didn't.
was a
She didn't.
build.
She wouldn't look at me when we're rehearsing,
Oh yeah.
and so she's talking to me really in character. I'm talking to her back in character, you know, and I think all of that showed up. I mean, when she got there that morning, because that was it might have been first up that day. It was early when we started that scene.
Yeah.
That she stuck with that, you know, that and all of that, what she did, and she just so makes it, and
What you were
Yeah,
doing, what
also
she was
very
yelling,
professional about it.
what you were yelling, it built up until the death of Chicken Boy, and then suddenly it drops to morning as Yuma walks across that little bridge with a smile on his face, and it changed. It did a whole 180, and that was so cool.
But also, did you notice though, from the violence with Stacy, he turns around and looks at me, and he bends down in a very gentle way, and taps my face to see if I was okay, and I wasn't. And then it was a whole different ballgame. Like whatever fight Stacy was putting on, that was about to end, and then Joe came in right at that moment to take that attention away from her, and that was key.
The whole thing was really magic.
That dichotomy. That how then you really see that Charlie was very, very sentimental about Chicken Boy in the way that I gently touch his face, you know, quit fucking around. I'm talking to him, you know, which is the nicest thing as Charlie's going to say.
Right. It touched me. There was still life left in me when I heard it.
Come on, quit fucking around, you know. And then here comes Too Cool for School, drinking coffee.
Yeah, long hair.
Get a hot cup of coffee, you know.
Yeah,
it's the nerve. My nose, you know. So,
relaxed with a smile.
Yeah. Didn't want my stench on his woman. You know?
That is really funny.
No, it and because if you like what Joe's saying, okay, on paper you're looking at this, okay, this is going to be hard. There's a lot of emotional levels. There's a lot of stuff that's going on here. Okay, well, let's see how this works out. And then the other thing, when Brian's doing it, Brian is ramping the stuff up with this manic thing, and then the way it's cut together is it just works, you know. And you know you guys came in close on Brian, and it's got a peculiar angle to it.
Yeah,
you know, and it's that surrealistic thing, and then your cuts in and out of that, and then you stayed in there the right amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there would have been a temptation maybe in the edit. Okay, give it another beat. Keep no, you got out of there at the right time. You know, off of Brian, off of what's going on, and then bang that cut, and then that really, really hard close up you got at his head is just coming
hitting the ground.
You know, and he's dead with his eyes open.
And let's not forget the music.
Oh no!
Oh yeah,
all of that. You know, the music, the edit.
And there's, I want to say there's this moment too. There's this the push in that you guys do when I spin around and then you push in. That because that was a key thing. That's one thing that we had to work out so that so the camera could get right in my face, and that looks so bitchin' on screen. It's just so good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I,
No,
when I,
Brian, you asked about if any of these guys had if they would change anything. There's nothing about any of the performances that I can think of that I would change.
Just the edit,
love the
just losing
performance.
time, right? Just making the movie a little shorter is what I would
Shorter.
change.
Well, that's the change that you and I would make. Yeah,
Yeah.
we would cut out some of that dialogue that went way over the top. You know, some of that dialogue went on.
I
too
wouldn't lose a
long.
minute of it. It's perfect. I wouldn't lose
thank you.
Believe me,
Well,
there
you
are
asked these
80-minute B movies that I watch where I'm like, you could lose 20 minutes out of this 80-minute film. But out of Steel Frontier, I think that all the dialogue, and we talked about this on the commentary, but all that dialogue where the movie pauses a little bit in the middle, and like Jim was saying, you kind of re-meet that group of Death Riders again, and they kind of all get their bit around the card table or whatever. I like that. Like that fleshes out the world for me. It fleshes out the characters for me. It has purpose, and it allows, in a movie as relentless as this, in terms of the action, in terms of the emotion, in terms of the intensity, in terms of the set pieces, it allows you that breathing room. And sometimes, whether it's a horror movie, a comedy, or an action film, they're very reactive genres. You have to have pauses in a comedy so you can laugh. You have to have the day scene in a horror movie so that you can not be scared for 5 minutes. And I think Steel Frontier needs that 5 minutes in the middle of it to keep you in the world, but like take a breath for a minute.
Well, I think
it's
that all of that time, when you're talking, all of that other stuff, Joe, that you say maybe you'd like to get rid of, I think that invests you in the characters, and I think that you pay it off. Now, if you didn't pay it off, you got to get rid of it, but you paid it off. So when all of these guys die or whatever happens to them, you got a grip on them. It's not like just some anonymous blur and now they're gone. You knew what they were about. You gave everybody a chance to be grounded, and that in the way that Paul cut it together, all of that plays, and so that's my humble opinion. Looking at it like that, I'm with John. No. All that needs to be there. All of that needs to be there. It's not too fat. It ain't.
Well, it's also a weird movie in the sense that the bad guys are sort of the guys you love to hate. They're the entertainment value of the movie. Not that Joe isn't fantastic, not that Stacy isn't fantastic, but they're very much the either the hero character that you expect, the sort of Man with No Name style or Mad Max style hero character who's sort of stoic and more skilled than everyone else. And Stacy is obviously sort of the strong, sort of feminine matriarchal character who's also like badass in her own way, but is also there to be a bit of a victim. Sort of not that they play them like cliches, but they're characters that you're very familiar with in the genre. Whereas the bad guys in this, they're so much fun. And yes, you hate them because they shoot all the guys when they first show up. They shoot all the men when they first show up. And obviously they're horrible and violent and gross and whatever. But the camaraderie, the characters, like Jim said, getting to know each of the individual characters, the fact that they've been traveling as this team and it feels very real. I don't know. You kind of love to hate them. They're kind of like one of the reasons why you're pulled into the movie as much as you are.
And you got to know.
Brian, was there any part of you asked those guys if they would change anything about their performance? Is there anything that you would change about your performance?
Well, I said that after Bob. Yeah, no, I wouldn't change anything. Like I said, I loved all the things you guys let us do. Came across like I can't even think of anything I would have done differently because that's how I saw the character. I don't know. I felt like I got to do what I wanted to do, and then I got to do what you wanted me to do, and I just wanted you to like it. Like
what you guys brought. What you brought to the table was perfect. That I think that's one of the secrets of casting, when you find that person who pretty much is the part, and we did.
Yeah.
And we felt that way about Joe Lara too. I remember meeting Joe, and immediately he was a real friendly guy, and immediately I thought, yeah, this guy is just right for this role.
So, and our guest here, Jay Weinrub says we should do an AI Still Frontier if we have to. Let's see. Off topic. Now, I like this because as actually I was going to actually ask you guys this myself. Talking about PM in their heyday, what was not only what was the most popular PM movie, but for Paul and Joe, what are 3 of your favorite PM movies? And then I have a similar question for Jim, Cody, and Bob after y'all have answered that.
Go ahead, Paul.
He said, Rage.
Well, I never really thought about this, but I mean, I know I liked Fist of Honor. I know I liked Dark Breed. I know I liked Fist of Honor, Dark Breed, Firepower, believe it or not, and John Shotgun Jones.
Oh, so good. Shotgun is so good. I love.
There's your Dark Breed right there.
Yeah. I got a funny story real quick about that. So we're doing ADR, and the female who gets carried away into the rafters, and she's yelling for help from the male lead. What's his name?
Which movie? Dark Breed or
Dark Breed?
Jack Scalia?
Jack Scalia, yeah. So John, I guess, was probably named Nick or something. So we're doing ADR, and she's being carried away by the alien into the rafters, and she's yelling in ADR, Jack, help me, Jack! And then we finished, and we thanked her and shook hands, and she went home, and she's driving home, and suddenly we realized, oh, fuck, she's yelling Jack. She's not We had to get her back and hope that she would come back and not have to pay her again.
Oh,
and she did for free. I felt guilty too. We were all stupid.
Look at all these guests. We got great
coming in. What was the most at the time? What were some of the high notes like that Joseph May and Rick Pepin were really happy with? Like, what was sort of the really popular PMs where they were like, "Oh, we've hit another," like.
Well, I think Joseph's Gary Daniel films. What is it? Rage, Riot, and he Recoil. Although he didn't do Recoil, it was Art Camacho.
Yeah,
but yeah, he was big onto those. And I mean, in my mind, there was some story there and some heart, but it really, I thought, was down to Spiro's big action. Oh, the one with Robert Patrick. That was one of my favorites, and then I got to direct some second unit.
Zero Tolerance.
Where we needed more action, so I directed some of that. Oh, the one that me and Joseph wrote new stuff for. Me and Joe Jacobsen wrote some stuff for in the movie. What was it called? Where you're playing the stuntman. We wrote a whole new title sequence. It was amazing.
Oh, direct hit.
The stuntman is eating his cereal while he's loading his pistol, while he's going back and talking to himself. He's interviewing himself in the mirror. So the mirror was the interviewer with the glasses, and then he'd answer himself in the mirror and take the glasses off, and he'd occasionally drop a bullet into the cereal, pull it out of the cereal with the milk, put suck off the milk, and then put it into his gun. That dialogue was brilliant. It was a moment. I loved that. Just a dialogue scene without any action.
I love it.
That was
great.
Thanks,
Paul. That's not my favorite acting that I've done, but
you did great. What was it called again? In fact, Direct Hit. Yeah, that was one of my favorites because I love that actor.
William Forsythe.
William Forsythe. Yes. He was that character when he came in for ADR. He was that guy.
Yeah.
Now, when you worked with Robert Patrick, was that before or after X-Files?
I don't. It was after his Terminator.
It was
before X-Files.
It was a year or two after Terminator, but it was way before X-Files.
Oh, okay.
Right. He's great. He's done so much since then.
I did an X-Files with him, and I'm the bad guy, and at the end of the movie, he has to. I know, oddly enough, I know my only bad guy role, and so at any rate, he has to. We have this protracted foot chase scene. He has to chase me for a long time, and we're huffing and puffing through the woods, and we go back to number one. We're going to go do it again, we're sitting there, and I asked him, I go, since you did Terminator 2, I go, do you ever think it's like kind of funny if you have to do another foot chase scene?
Yeah.
And he kind of looked at me and he goes, yeah, I did.
Yeah.
And he was the most down to earth guy, wasn't he?
He's an awesome guy.
Sweet, down to earth guy.
I've stayed connected with him since we did X-Files, and Robert is an awesome guy.
Yeah, I got to meet him
because he started doing a lot more social media. So he's recently sort of letting a lot of people in behind the scenes. And in fact, he just did a big post about his X-Files character the other day because for him, it's one of the few like straight up good guys that he's played.
Yeah.
Not that he hasn't played like hero characters and even his character in Zero Tolerance, but they're all a little anti-hero and a little gruff and a little rough around the edges, whereas Agent Doggett in the X-Files is more clean cut and positive. And so he was talking about that. But no, one of the funny things we were talking earlier about sort of PM and often just saying, you know, you have this much feet of film or you have this take or you have whatever. One of the regrets Joseph May had when I spoke to him was that in Zero Tolerance, when Robert Patrick finds out about his family having been murdered over the phone, he's in Vegas and he's on the phone and he calls up his partner and he finds out about his family and he breaks down. He gets very emotional and very upset and kind of slinks down to the floor and is sort of banging the phone against the wall kind of thing. And after that, he got back up and apparently said to Joe, like, can we just go one more time on that? I feel like I could do it better. Apparently Joseph was like, no, we've got it. Moving on. That was the biggest regret that Joseph had. And I said the funny thing is at that point in Robert Patrick's career, and I've seen a bunch of his straight to video stuff that he was doing at that time, because Terminator 2 didn't pay off for him right away. He was still doing a lot of straight to video thrillers and horror films and dramas and stuff like that. And I said, of all the companies he worked with at that time, PM were the only company that gave him a hero role, like a full-blown action hero role, and gave him like a leading man role. Because in a lot of the other movies, he's either part of a duo, or he's the bad guy, or he's second fiddle, or whatever.
Yeah.
PM and when I said that to Joseph, he went, "Yeah, I won't feel bad ever again then."
He did a fine job, though. I mean, when you see it play out, it was a wonderful scene.
Yeah, it's a great scene. And he didn't need a second take. I mean, I understand Joseph could have given him one and it would have been fine, but he didn't need one. It plays well in the film.
You're right. It would have been hard for me to refuse him that also, but he didn't need it.
Well, Joseph was ruthless. I mean, you talk about Spiro and Rage, the famous sequence, the skyscraper in Rage that seemingly is sort of multiple helicopters and multiple cameras and multiple shots and multiple
and
whatever.
The window cleaning thing.
The window cleaning thing. Joe said to Spiro, "You've got one setup." Spiro was like, "How do I set this whole? How do I film this whole damn thing in one setup?" And he basically just used the camera helicopter to capture absolutely everything. And then in the edit suite, you know, obviously you put it together in lots of different shots. But yeah, lots of things happen like that.
And then I reused it in one of my LA Heat episodes.
Nice.
My characters into the right
LA Heat, baby.
Wardrobe and whatnot, and it was great. You know, using a big action scene that cost 3 times as much as the whole episode costs.
Right.
To be able to utilize that was great. Oh, there was one more movie. Actually, well, the Tracy Lords movie with Robert Miano, I thought that was really good too. Actually, one of my favorites. And then the first 10 minutes of Ring of Fire 3 that me and Jacobsen had to write a 10-minute action sequence because they didn't have enough action in the movie, they thought. So we wrote this whole scene.
Motorbike drives into a hospital sequence.
Yeah, well, the hospital thing with the helicopters, and then Don Wilson jumping over the ledge and hanging on, and then the helicopter get blowing up, and then I got shot through the window in the hospital room. That was a lot of fun, also.
Yeah. Because when doctors have downtime, they go up on the helipad.
Yeah.
Exactly. I think that's the reason they gave Joe and me Ring of Fire, because of that great 10-minute sequence that opened up Ring of Fire.
It's
or they gave us Steel Frontier because of that sequence.
That's
Do you remember? Do you remember
Yeah,
when we?
some of those movies?
Hey, Paul, do you remember that camera assistant yelling at us because we blasted the gun off right toward him? Do you remember that? We were shooting underneath this.
Yes,
there
we were shooting at
tanks.
people's legs.
What's that?
We were shooting at people's legs. At
Yeah,
that
because we were on the ground shooting under this tank. And
Exactly.
they were laying down in their stomachs with the camera. And then Don was supposed to be shooting just past camera, and the communication wasn't so great. And we almost had it could have been a very bad situation. And I remember just keeping my mouth shut because I knew the guy was right.
Well, what? It was loud in his ears?
No, we fired the gun right. It was with blanks, and he was about 10 feet away. But Don,
I don't think it was
off
at
right.
him. I don't think we fired anything at him.
Oh, it was right at him. It was just past camera, right at him, and this guy ran into us. He's like, "Hey, man, you got to tell us when you're shooting at us because you were shooting it right at me."
Whoops.
I don't remember.
It was bad communication. We were
Well,
in such a
everyone's
hurry.
in, so it's
Well,
fine.
sometimes when you're moving as fast as we did, but he was fine, right?
yeah.
Oh yeah, he was fine.
Moving on.
Yeah, we're all good. All right, I want to give Jim Cody and Robertson, but before we do it, I want to hit the chats real quick. And this is Prince. Hey, buddy. We talked about this. This was the scene with Jim Cody and me. Want to watch. That was like the most challenging scene for sure. And Hoss McPizza, another fan. He's a member of the channel. He says this movie was super fun. Explosions next level. Reminds me of John Carpenter's spinoff about the resurrection of Chicken Boy is sorely needed. Let's go. And he also says that he thinks the poker table scene is one of his favorite scenes. Classic set piece. Naturally engaging as a viewer. I love that too. It was that scene, just the atmosphere. And again, when you guys see this bonus feature that I'm giving you, the behind the scenes, you'll see the bar before it was finished and then after it was finished.
Wow.
And it's just amazing to see the set design from when it was just a bunch of walls to what it is. It's just, I want to hang out in that bar. Like that bar looked so much fun.
Yeah.
Well, I want to hang out in any bar, but
Yeah, and I think you do. All right, Bob, let's go to you next. All right, so we've heard like some things that they loved. Now, outside, we're going to get out of PM and Steel Frontier for a little bit because I want the audience to know you guys a little bit. Give me 3 things that you've done as an actor that you love, that you hold near and dear, that are very special to you. Jim Cody, I'm going to come to you with the same question after that. This will help people know what you've been in.
Star Trek, I did 10 years on it over 2 shows, actually a 3rd show too, but not very long on it. And that was a great experience. And then I think Steel Frontier, number 2, and Desperados with Jim Cody Williams was number 3. And then I'd add as a 4th, because it helped my career so much, is Hill Street Blues.
Nice.
Cool.
You're great in that, Bobby. You're great in Hill Street Blues.
Yeah, I was really young and I didn't really know a lot about the business, and nobody knew who I was. And the next day, everybody in the business knew who I was, and I didn't get it. I didn't understand it at all. But nobody, the public didn't watch Hill Street Blues in the beginning, but everybody in the business watched Hill Street Blues in the beginning, and so I would walk on like Universal or wherever I was, Paramount, and they would go, "Oh," So it was a shock. But those 3 things, and Star Trek was originally was supposed to be cowboys in space. That's what the original concept was when the original Star Trek started. And but those 3 shows really stand out. And 2 of them, I worked with this guy. So they were a lot of fun.
Absolutely.
Oh, thanks, Bob.
Yeah,
That's great.
Yeah.
Jim Cody.
One PM movie I really liked was one of the early ones. I always really liked a movie called LA Heat.
Yeah.
That was directed
Officially
by,
the first PM or the
With
first
Jim Brown. The one with Jim Brown.
was Jim Brown in that? LA
Yes.
Heat with
Yeah,
Lawrence
Jim
Hilton
Brown. I mean,
Jacobs?
certainly Lawrence Hilton Jacobs was the star, who's going to be there actually for Rick's memorial. But
Oh,
Jim
Jim
Brown
played-
was in it.
Yeah, he played
Wow.
the captain, right?
Yes, exactly.
Wow.
Yeah, I
That was pretty cool
like that
back then.
movie. It's a very tight little action film, well directed by Joseph. I remember it's got a terrific little foot chase through the farmer's market that always impressed me. And it's just a tight little film that I like quite a bit. And, of course I have a soft spot for Steel Frontier, and I really like what Rick did. I like the script I wrote for T-Force. I think Rick did a good job with that one.
Yeah,
Oh, that's
T-Force
great.
is great. T-Force is fantastic.
It's interesting.
And
But,
Jim
I
Cody,
love Steel Frontier.
how about you, buddy? And now, I got to tell you, Bob, Jim Cody and I mentioned the same thing Monday night about the opening credit sequence. Is I don't know, Paul, or if you guys decided how the names fell, but
Yeah, of course we did.
did you? So, Bob, so it's your name, Jim Cody's name, and my name are all on the same title card, and both of us get an act. I love it. It's like my favorite
Yes.
credit I've ever
Yes.
had on screen.
My favorite title card.
It is.
Oh,
But yeah, crank. Tell us 3 good ones.
Parts. I got to be on this TV show a couple of years ago now. This Is Us, and I had a nice part on that show. I got to play a character that is actually close to how I really am in this world, and it was really fun to get to do that. And it was a big show on NBC. Everybody's very nice to me, and I thought it came off good. Another movie that I was in, it was called Lies and Alibis, and has a massive cast in it. Everybody's famous except me, but I got to be Sam Elliott's bodyguard in that film, and so I got to work with him for 6 weeks. And
Wow.
so I got to stand next to him and Henry Rollins. Henry Rollins
wow.
and I were Sam's bodyguard.
And Jim, you're probably the only other actor whose mustache, maybe Kurt Russell as well, but your mustache against Sam Elliott's mustache.
Okay. Now, see, I got to be in a movie with Kurt Russell called Dark Blue,
Yeah,
love
that was
that.
good. Love
and
Dark Blue.
and I begged for my life in an alley, and Kurt Russell still gets Scott Speedman to execute me.
Yeah.
So it's one of my dying scenes.
But no mustache in that.
But I talked to both of those guys about mustaches, and they said that I'm legitimate. So
Yeah.
Very good.
those guys.
And I'm just saying that Kurt Russell may or may not have stole Jim Cody's look for Hateful Eight. I mean, if you look at it, if you look at it,
I got to call him on that.
I'm just saying, give him a buzz, man.
What the hell's going on?
Say, come
But
on.
here's my Steel Frontier greatest brag moment. I'm in Pirates of the Caribbean 2, in Dead Man's Chest, and I got to go to St. Vincent Island to make it, so down in the Caribbean, and I wound up having like 7 or 8 days before they got to me, so I just got to be a misbehavior. If O'Reilly had been down there with me, we'd have both got arrested. So I'm just eating too much and drinking too much. And they said, okay, we're going to do this big special effect. And they had all these explosive charges set out in the ocean, and they're going to blow up the ocean. And then so they're going to get this giant explosion of seawater. It's going to go up, and it's in the film. And then they CG around it that there's a ship in there and all this. But it's like this is the biggest explosion in the history of Hollywood. And I get to be here that day and everything. And I'm going, well, I saw it. I go, it's not going to make national news. I was on a movie that made news when we blew up something. And I was standing at the same distance. And the Steel Frontier explosion destroys what they tried to do on Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah.
We had bigger, louder, better. The Kaiser Steelworks.
Right? Come on. And I bet no bull skewered anybody on Pirates of the Caribbean.
That tower was 200 feet tall.
Not anymore. That's 2 feet tall.
Not anymore, baby.
That's 2 feet tall.
No, but seriously, I mean, the visceral experience of that tower going off, which I went up to the top of it, and I think before it is, the top lip on that thing was 3 or 4 feet wide. You could walk around on the top of that thing easily. The base of it was like 12 feet thick. And the rebar at the base of it was as big as your arm. It was unreal. It was a superstructure, and we blew it up.
Yeah. And everyone who was saying, oh, it's not selling as well, I would have just gone to them with that sequence.
Yeah.
Gone, sell the hell out of this. Because this is.
Are you looking at this? Are you looking at this, man?
Yeah.
Come on.
Come on now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, John, I have a question for you. When you first saw Steel Frontier, did it strike you as more of an action movie, or did it strike you more as a comedy?
Oh no, definitely an action movie. I mean, it's I think of it as sort of a post-apocalyptic Western first, action movie then. I mean, I would never brand it a comedy. I understand that there's like comedic stuff in it, and there's intentionally stuff that is both dark and funny, and I love dark and funny. You know, we talked on the commentary about the fact that Brian James runs into his own son's corpse, and then the corpse is like hit with a windscreen wiper as he flies. It's phenomenal.
It's hilarious.
Now that is hilarious, but at the same time, it's so dark and bleak.
It is.
Well.
Yeah.
And so, yes, I mean, there's certainly comedic elements in it, but no, I don't think I would ever categorize it as sort of an out-and-out comedy. No. But when I watched it, I mean, I sit down to watch most PM films with hope that there is going to be a good mix of everything, that there's going to be a couple of scenes in it where you go, wow, okay, how did they come up with that? There'll be a couple of scenes where you'll see action you've never seen the likes of before. And normally, because PM was always cast in such an interesting way, you'll see character actors especially doing stuff that you haven't seen them do before, or that they don't normally get the limelight to do before, you know. So that's I mean, I know there are some PM films that were made as out and out comedies and things, but
not many, just a couple.
Yeah.
And then there was the Bikini Summer trilogy, which, you know, there's comedy in those a little bit.
Yeah.
Now, John, before we go, I'm actually going to have you see if you think of something. I'm going to see if you have a final question for everybody. But what I would like to ask, like Paul and Joe, is anyone that's not here tonight, is there anything we all, or, you know, Jim Cody or Bob, anybody you worked with, that you'd like to talk about or just give a little shout out to? Like, you know, like I want to shout out Billy Sullivan. He and I, you know, had a little clicky moment there near that scene where he took me out. That was really great. So I want to give Billy Sullivan a shout out.
One.
And then,
I had a gunfight with Willie Nelson.
Oh,
Willie Nelson. Oh my.
Yeah. And Willie Nelson won the gunfight.
Again,
surprise.
I don't get it. Come on.
Robert, was that a huge moment for you? I mean, everyone's a big Willie fan, but was that a big moment for you?
Yeah, it was, because it was a director I'd worked with before, and I knew, and it was one of those things in an audition where you know the director so well, you know what he wants and likes. And I wore this hat, by the way, again.
Magic hat.
Yeah, the magic hat, and it went my way, but I didn't realize that Willie Nelson was the character that when I got to the set, you know, I found out it was Willie Nelson, and it was just fun, you know, to work with him.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Jim Cody, anybody jump out you want to give a shout out to? Fat girl, maybe?
She was a trooper.
First in my mind, Stacey Foster.
Love her.
Man, you
What a pro.
You were the best one there. I mean, she could just do it seamlessly. Stuff that scenes that I had with her, scenes that I saw her do later, scenes that I watched her do. And one of the, you know, that how things have changed in all this time. Shooting something on film, and you really and realistically, when you did it, when you, as an actor in those days, you're doing this, you're thinking, okay, I got one chance at this. Realistically, I got one chance at this. It's too expensive. It's too hard to come back. It's too hard to reset. I'm not a star. I'm a character player, and I'm going. I got to be ready to do this correctly right now.
In one take. Yep.
And now with digital, you know, I think like the last few TV things I've done, and there's younger people there, they've never had an in-person audition.
Wow.
Wow. Okay, we go in. Yes, Bobby. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
We you know, in those days, you go in, you had this tiny little envelope of 60 seconds or maybe 2 minutes. That's a long audition to be perfect, to own this. The people who are in front of you have got to fall in love with you that much to hire you, to pay you to be an actor. That's a big deal. Well, now they have infinite numbers of chances at it. They're shooting it digitally at their house. And so here's take 164, and I send it in. Hey, that was pretty good.
Yeah.
Well, now you get on the set, they can't do it. They don't know their lines. They don't know what they're doing. They think they have infinite number of takes in them. And you lose that organic energy. It's gone.
Right. Wow. Wow.
But if you're under that microscope, you got to get it right now. You know what? You will be good.
Yeah.
You will be, if you're a real actor, if you got that real fastball in you, you will be good right here, right now. And
so I should go back to acting?
Bobby, right now we need you, man.
We should all do something together.
You know, I mean, but Stacey Foster had that right here, right now.
Yeah.
Right here, right now.
Yeah.
That chick can pile it up.
My guy, is Joe welding over there? Hang on.
Yeah, I believe there's some welding going on nearby.
Yeah, I got to keep muting Joe because he's welding. Maybe he's welding the next set for Steel Frontier 2.
He's like, we're going to shoot this in film.
Yeah, I
don't know. Now it's like 6 or 7 years ago. I got to make a Super Bowl commercial, and it was for Mercedes. Mm-hmm. And when I went to the callback, I couldn't fucking believe it. The Coen brothers were directing this commercial.
Nice.
The Coen brothers are, and it's one of these things that almost came out of my mouth. I want to say, you guys look like the Coen brothers.
I'm glad you didn't say that.
Yeah, and you got the job because you said that.
They're here, and so we made it. So it was really, really high concept. It's Mercedes. They got all of this money. Peter Fonda was in it. It was a tie-in to Easy Rider. Real high concept, a lot of money, and they shot it in film.
Nice.
And they lit it legitimately. See, now they grab everything through the lens, and everybody's eye now is unsophisticated, and they're used to sloppy lighting, and they're loose, and they don't know the difference until they look at it. But if you're shot in film and you really had to light the set, and it really had to be correct, and you have that depth.
Yeah,
the depth is gone now, and everybody's eye is now trained, and it misses it. All this other stuff that they just huck out there that's shot on digital. That before, it's like you turn the cameras around. Now you're shooting. Now you relight it. And that's 6 or 7 hours.
Yeah.
It's correct. Now we're ready. Go. And so because the tech aspects took so long, that you, as an actor, you had to be correct right here, right now. You're not going to get into the past of this. We don't got time. You got to get it correct now. And that is gone. And
different mindset completely. I agree with you 100%. When I'm directing now, I'll just keep rolling. You couldn't afford to do that back then. There was no keep rolling. It was we this is this take, and then you cut. when
Yep.
you know, you didn't keep
Especially when
rolling.
you're counting, Paul. You're counting the numbers
Yeah.
of the film.
Yeah,
I
it's a whole
remember
different
doing.
mindset.
I remember doing it.
There's no more magic. There's no more. The other thing that happens when you rolled film and you had one chance at it, you know what you got? You got great accidents.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
There was an edge to it.
There
was an
edge,
edge.
Bobby, the edge.
Yeah.
You didn't
And
intend for that to happen, but fuck, that was great.
Yeah.
We're not going to get another pass at it, and we
Yeah.
captured it on film.
I remember I did one show, and it was I took out my gun, and I shot somebody, and then I was supposed to go around the table, and I knew it was the last shot of the day, and the shell casing came out halfway and got stuck in the gun.
Yeah.
And I went like this, and as I went around, the camera was stationary, and I had to keep that shell hidden from the cameraman. Now the shell is that big on the screen, and maybe realistically it's even that big on the screen, almost invisible.
Yeah.
The cameraman, after we cut, he said, "I can't believe you just did that." And the director said, "What?" He hid the shell casing that came out on the gun. You know, I mean, this is how good people are in our business. You know, that the camera operator through that lens could see that little thing and go, he did it. You know, he went around. I got another job from that director because
Bobby, that's how contained you were. That's a fucking pro. That's a fucking pro move.
That was you, Bobby.
That's you, Bobby. That's a pro move.
That very thing has ruined shots of ours.
Yeah, exactly.
Same thing.
Yeah, a lot of actors would have just gone. It missed fire. You know, it missed. But I knew it was the last shot. I knew they had to have it.
Yeah,
and I knew they were almost out of film on the reel. That's what brought me. You know, when you said that, you know, having so much footage of film.
Yes,
they would have had to change that, and I knew it was important. So, you know, it was like, but that's the way it used to be. You know,
it's a big part of rediscovering these PM films now that they're coming out on Blu-ray as well, and we're seeing them, you know, as close as we would have seen them in a theater or in a screening room or whatever, when they were, you know, going around the world to be in festivals or to be picked up and bought and shipped. And because they were shot in film, because they were shot by people who, you know, were professional cinematographers. And like you say, Jim, had to light things a certain way, had to stage things a certain way. They hold up. And I think one of the things that I really wanted to do with the podcast was to point out the fact that, you know, because so many people now have, the other thing that I find, Jim, that drives me nuts about film appreciation these days is that because everything is available to some extent, and because it's all just in a hodgepodge with everything else on a streaming service, everything feels very disposable to a lot of people. And a lot of people will watch movies from a certain era in a sort of ironic, detached, above the movie type way. And that will always bother me, because the thing that I love to champion about PM Entertainment is that not only were these incredibly skilled professionals, whether it was the stunt people, whether it was the directors, or the cinematographer, or the actors, but it was also the fact of what they achieved on the budget that they had. So we were talking about sort of unlimited time to shoot now that you have digital cameras, and, you know, to some extent it's cheaper to edit a film than ever before. It's cheaper to score a film than ever before, because you can do it all on digital, right? There's a reason why there aren't a glut of great straight to video or straight to streaming movies. And the reason why straight to streaming movies look the way they do is because there isn't that constriction. When creativity comes up against a conflict, or comes up against a budget, or comes up against a lack of film, or comes up against whatever it is, whatever the conflict, whatever the barrier is in the place, you have to be intelligent and creative to rethink it, right? So Spiro being told he can only do one shot, he has to figure out how he does that full stunt sequence with one shot rather than 4 different setups. And it makes him more creative in the moment. If you can shoot whatever you want and have as many cameras going on as you want, the creativity is lost because it's not coming up against anything.
No, there's no focus and there's no precision.
Right.
When I was in the show recently, it's Westworld. It's the reboot. It's a streaming show.
Yeah.
And so I have this scene with the star of the show, and they got cameras that are like as big as a grapefruit now. And so they got,
Maybe it was a grapefruit.
They got this lattice work thing going over here, and they got like 4 cameras on that, and so I'm asking the guy, so how many cameras are with it? 7. Fucking A. Okay, 7. Okay. So you know, where do you want me to look? You know,
Yeah, what camera do you want me to point to?
so you know what?
Which one?
I'm just gonna wing it, the thing and the deal. But
Wow.
but I just go back to when, okay, you know who used to be I'm not gonna say king, queen. It was the woman with the stopwatch who was the continuity lady who said, okay, you're up against the clock. You have 9 seconds to make this shot. You have but now the whole day you're shooting, the script that you're on, used to be approved. There's no script approval anymore. Now it's just like, okay, we turn these guys loose. They're going to do what they're going to do. We film it. We got 9 cameras rolling in low resolution, and the shot looks like shit. And nobody is focused because they don't have to be. They don't have to be. Their feet are not to the fire. They can just half-ass it. Okay, okay, now we got some usable footage. Okay, moving on. And there's
nobody knows what they have.
No, there's no focus and there's no precision.
And then we editors get that and go, man, you are missing so much.
The way that we made this movie, the Steel Frontier was made, and the way that Paul cobbled this thing together, the way it was directed, all of that was precise. This is what we got. Here's the story that we wrote. Here's the story that we're putting over. Here's how we shot it. We're going to put it together. And it's going to look great. And there was precision the whole time. It's not like, because now it's like, okay, well, we'll just wing it. We're going to get what we get. And it looks like that.
Mm-hmm.
And it looks like that. When you look at in product, it's something, this streaming thing is, oh yeah, let them go. They're funny. And okay, I'm not going to say the show is a show I did recently. And we were just making stuff up on the moment.
And hoping that you got it.
Cohesive.
Yeah.
You know why? Because we can keep shooting it because we got 13 cameras rolling that are big as great. And we're just fucking talking now.
And you do take after take, keep rolling. Let's go to another take, keep rolling. Let's get another take.
And it's like, well, I hope the fuck you catch lightning in a bottle. But when you don't know what you're talking about before you start doing it, you wind up with crap.
Yeah.
And so many times the stuff in the last bunch of jobs I've had in the last few years, that's it.
Yeah.
That's how it works.
Yeah.
We're hoping for the best.
Mm-hmm.
And the lady with the stopwatch is gone.
Yeah. Well, y'all, I know I've kept you for almost 2 hours as we start to land this plane. There are 2 things I wanted to throw at Paul one more time. The first one is, I don't think we've mentioned the amazing cars in this film and the look of all the cars. Just amazing, like the one with the scoop, and of course the UPS truck and the bus and all these, Death Rider vehicles. How long did it take to prep those? And did they just turn out the way you wanted them? Like,
yeah, I mean, we talked.
Bobo's even driving just a stripped car at the very end. It's just 2 seats and a steering wheel.
We talked about everyone. Bill Jensen, I think, was the guy's name who created them all, who put them together, who put in the cages. So when you did a pipe ramp or whatever, you wouldn't die if the car collapses around you. It's not going to collapse the cage. So yeah, we talked about it, and it probably took 2-3 weeks, not as long as you would imagine.
Wow. That's
To create all these vehicles.
Wow.
Probably not more than 3 weeks. But he's in his shop and he starts welding right away. And we picked the cars out, and it was part of the PM thing, right?
Yeah.
It just this went overboard because it was the road warrior type of approach.
Yeah.
Right.
And yeah, the scooping car, that we had done that on another movie previous. I don't remember what it was, but we had done that before, where the car was able to scoop.
One of the buggies from T-Force is also in Steel Frontier. One of the triangular fronted. It might even be the scooping car you're talking about.
It may have been. Yeah. No, we
There those like lower buggies with the triangular welded on fronts.
Yeah,
I believe that's
could have well been.
I just remembered seeing those parked off to the side, and again, I didn't even remember the footage until I saw it. I'm like, oh my god, I'm literally in the car yard. It's like where all these cars were. So I think you're gonna enjoy it. You're gonna love that. And then lastly, Paul's like, so you have this big scene that I sort of allocate to Heat with Pacino and De Niro. You've got Brian James and Svensson right together in that scene. And Joe's weighed in on what that felt like for him. He was very nervous. For you, these are your big dogs at the end. What did that feel like for you, putting them in the same scene?
Which scene in particular are you talking about?
John, do you remember the scene? It's
in the cave.
Yeah, in the cave.
Yeah,
when
the one that you shot. Yeah, in the cave.
Right, where he gets
yeah.
Where was that? Where was the cave?
Well, we found it an approach in the desert to go into, but we shot the cave. That was at the PM.
That was the stages at PM, right?
Gotcha.
That was the set. So you're asking me, what was it like having them both in a scene?
Yeah, having little two A-listers there. Was it just like any other scene, or did you feel like, now here we go. Look at this money shot?
Not really. I mean, to me, it's all the same, whether it's a no-name actor or an A-lister. I mean, yes, I have a little bit more nervousness when I get a big name there. For me, that's one of the hardest things to do, is dealing with egos. Thank God, most experiences I had, they've been sweet people, wonderful, easy to work with. But no, you know what? I hardly remember that scene. What you're talking about? I hardly remember the scene.
That means there was no pressure. I love it.
What comes to mind with me is Brian James and his scream when he sees his son sitting up in the casket. That was amazing. Or the moment where he says, "We run in packs. Death rides alone." I remember those moments. Those are the things that stick. Or while he's getting shaved.
Sweet.
When he does his death scream, I was dead in a coffin right there. So I'm like 5 feet from him, and so you guys put me there and said, "Okay, you might be in the shot," and I'm not in the shot, but in case. Okay, I was standing there. And I wasn't ready for that.
Trying not to breathe, though, right?
Yeah, and it's what you don't want to get stuck watching him instead of just being dead.
Yeah.
But I when he did that, because he's within arm's reach of me, it was honest.
It was true.
When he did that, I'm going, man, that was good.
From the depth of his soul.
Yes.
That
was good.
He was a wonderful, wonderful actor.
I was just so happy to get that out of him.
Yeah. He was with my agency, and I knew him a bit, and he was kind of a brilliant guy, a little off, but
one of those guys that I feel like gave a great performance no matter the movie he was in. I mean, he was in everything from big Hollywood movies like Tango and Cash all the way down to third tier Michael Dudikoff shot in a basement somewhere movies. And he was great in every single one as a as an appreciator, he felt that way. Was he? I know that Paul, and we talked about this, I think, when we did our interview for the show, but I think Bo was a little ornery on occasion. But was Brian a stand-up guy throughout the whole show?
Completely. 100%. Yeah. Brian was great. He couldn't have been better. Easy to work with. They're 100%. Didn't look down on us because we're a low budget. He was in it 100%. No problem.
That primal scream, that was Brian's idea.
Everybody was. And yeah, Bo gave us some attitude. I won't get into it. I mean, I loved freaking Bo Spencer. I think I was one of the main movers and checkers that got.
Bo's amazing. I'm not trying to stir up controversy.
No, I know, but I had mentioned to you that he got on my nerves sometimes. But the great Waldo Pepper, I was so happy that we got him cast.
Honestly, the great Waldo Pepper, honestly.
Yeah, exactly. I was so freaking happy.
Yes.
Brian Huckabee.
Yes,
I have one little quick little story that I had made a note I wanted to share because it's to me it's insane.
Oh no.
Okay, so real quick, the movie with Robert Patrick, he was an FBI guy, and there was another FBI guy. Now in pickups, I had to direct pickups, so we decided to show him. We went down to the border, the Mexican border in San Diego. We had on a car carrier. We took a supposed FBI car with fake license plates. We dropped it off right before the border. We get into and now I'm wearing, because we're shooting from one of those overpasses that you can walk on in America. Yeah. Okay. And we're stealing the shot too. So we get up there with a camera crew, really just a few people. And what we're meaning to shoot is seeing the FBI car go across the border.
Right on.
Okay.
Yeah.
So me and then one of the second AD who worked the show, we're dressed. We see us from behind, so we're dressed like the FBI guys. You can't see us hardly that much anyway, but you see the car, and you see there's two bodies in it. So we go through. We enter into Mexico. We don't really have any problem there. In fact, we did. We told him whether it was the Americans or the Mexicans at the time, we're shooting a movie. We just want to pass. And we pointed, see, there's the camera. We just want to pass and then get off and come right back. The guy was like, oh, okay. We did this, but we couldn't, for some reason, we couldn't get off right away. We were blocked. And so we had to go to the next exit, and we got off. And then we turned around. We think we know where we are. We're not exactly where we think we are. We have to go a few blocks, turn left, turn right. Shit, where the fuck are we? How do we get back to America?
Oh no!
And suddenly we get pulled over. Fucking policeman.
Lost in Tijuana.
He comes in Tijuana. He comes up. He talks to us. He says he could tell that it was a fake license. What the hell's going on here?
Not good.
Yeah.
Luckily, he spoke English. We explained to him what we were doing verbatim. He looks at us. He stops. He takes a few feet away. He thinks. He turns around. He comes back. He says, "There's no way you could be making this up." Just follow me. I'll take you back.
Oh, that's great.
Isn't that amazing?
I've been lost in Tijuana, but I was in a bar,
Yeah. I had to get that out there because nobody else really knows this story.
What did the camera operator think when they
told you
story?
Well, the camera operator just saw us disappear off the second off ramp, and that was that.
Oh,
they were worried.
We had to have the footage of the last time we saw these.
We saw him.
Matter of fact, I do.
Yeah, and the footage is in the movie, of course, of Brian crossing the border Robert crossing the border into Mexico.
That's amazing.
Paul, how many movies you made, Paul?
With PM?
Yeah.
With anybody? How many you made?
Maybe 150.
Woo!
Wow.
Okay.
And you only used us once?
Yeah, I'm with Bob.
Hey, you know.
Well, I mean, a lot of times I would direct second unit, which incorporated dialogue scenes and visual effects scenes. When I spent a lot of time in Romania, in Barcelona,
Wow.
And most of the time there, I was directing action unit. I don't like to call it second unit. I like to call it action unit because that's
Right.
what it was. And at the
Right.
same time, it was VFX. And we would end up shooting a good amount of the first unit also because they didn't have the time. They couldn't do it. And that
Right.
was wonderful. But I wasn't necessarily, well, and I was in another country. So when
Right.
the Americans we cast, it was a big deal, to bring
Yes.
them over there.
Well, my point in all of this, I just wanted to make sure everybody knew that they had a fucking legend in front of them.
Yeah.
You are the real fucking deal.
Oh, well, thank you,
Paul.
Jim.
You are the
Yeah.
real
I
fucking
love making movies, and I got the greatest opportunity, and I learned on the job. It was it was the PM film school, PM school of filmmaking, and I sucked at the beginning, and luckily there was enough movies to be made to get good. Well, and movie making is all down to sensibilities. Does it work or does it not? If you don't have
Right.
that sensibility, you're fucked.
Yeah.
You guys were Charlie Chaplin and Buster Keaton. You really were.
Yeah.
You were legitimate, original filmmakers.
Yeah.
You really, really were.
Well, shooting on
Thank
film
you.
to begin was a big deal. I mean, as far as having to do it right the first time.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
Yeah.
That was huge, and I'm so thankful that we got to experience shooting on film and screening it. Okay, the other day you guys mentioned, what are you looking at through the camera when you're shooting? You know it's going to be 4:3, 99% of who's watching it. Well, what we were shooting for was we knew in order to sell the film at AFM or many of the markets in Europe, it was going to be screened. That may have been the only time that it was screened, but it was going to be on the big screen for these buyers to look at it. We had to put it on the big screen. So we were looking when we shot for 1:8:5, which is the aspect of a film, on the big screen, which is very similar to the widescreen, 16:9. But we were also knew that all the action, the important action, had to be in 4:3 unless we would pan and scan. Now, panning and scanning took extra money.
Yes.
There was extra time.
Yes.
In the studio. So whenever possible, we would keep it within safe. In the middle.
Yeah.
Whatever action we had. It wasn't always possible, but most of the time. And so that's what how we were looking at it, and we'd mark it.
I think I said what Ken had said, which is basically he was always thinking widescreen.
Yeah.
Always made sure that the top and the bottom didn't have stuff in frame, because very often when they're thinking widescreen, they don't care what's in the top and bottom of the frame because they're going to crop it off. But you guys knew that it was always going to show up on VHS as
100, or on HBO or back then, it's pretty much what it was, cable, and I had that conversation with Kenny many times, or doing the LA Heat TV series, and knowing it would never be on widescreen. This is just a TV series, even though now it is, even on television.
Yeah.
Well, y'all, I think I want to wrap this up with us. What I want to do is just go around the horn. If you guys have any last words you'd like to say, last thing that you're feeling. John, I want to start down with you, and I'll work our way back up to Paul. Just sort of parting words for our all the people that have been watching tonight. Thank you so much for being here tonight, everybody that have chimed in and left comments and engaged our friends here. I appreciate it. John, any last words?
Well, first of all, I want to say a huge thank you. Since I embarked on doing the podcast and so on, I had a lot of ideas and things in my head that I hoped would pan out. I never saw anything like this happening. So I'm very, very grateful. And you've all been incredibly wonderful and gracious to me and bringing me in and talking to me and doing interviews and things like that. Jim, I'd love to have you on the show. Robert, I would love to have you on the show as well.
Do it.
But thank you so much is the first thing I want to say. And then secondly, obviously, Paul and whoever else is attending on Monday, just a huge lot of love and condolences to Rick, his friends, his family, and just a huge thank you as well that he was able to create what he was able to create, and that we'll keep carrying the torch for that. Because as I say, every new film I see by PM, and I'm going through all of them, as you know, I discover more and more gems. So just a big, heartfelt thanks and all the best to him and his family.
Thanks, John. That was very sweet. Robert?
John, good words. Good words. Thank you. Brian, thank you. Paul, thank you. Jim Cody, forever.
It
was wonderful shooting that film, and I think it lives forever.
Thanks, Bob. It was a great time. It was a great time working with you and being with everybody on set. Jim Cody, my crank, chicken crank.
I just want to say to Bobby O'Reilly how important you were and how you are and how you continue to be in my life. So important having met you as an actor. When we met a long time ago in Tucson in the 1980s.
Wow.
I know. And I was some guy who hadn't done nothing. And when I got to meet you in Tucson, I got to meet a guy that was the real goddamn deal. And you were very kind to me. And you helped me a lot. And you said stuff to me then that is still important to me now. So there. That I got to work with you on Steel Frontier, and I look at it now. I mean, it was a brilliant artistic endeavor. It really, really was.
Yeah.
And that doesn't happen anymore. It just doesn't. And I was blessed to have that happen. That I got to know you all of that time. That I got to meet all these people and do this. I got to meet Brian. I got to play that part where he's right next to me the whole damn time. That Joe and Paul were so generous in letting us do this thing because it just doesn't happen anymore. That artistry is gone. What we did is gone,
right.
and I don't see it coming back. And right here, right now, I feel so blessed and privileged that happened to me. That came my way. All you guys came my way. Thank you so much. That I got to be a part of this thing, and that 30 years later, we're sitting about it. This is so epic.
Yeah.
Thank you, all of you guys. Okay, big love.
Thanks, Jim Cody. Joe, are you there?
Can you hear me?
Oh yeah, we can hear you. So
Can you see me?
Nope, but we'll take your words.
Oh, really? Yeah, I seem okay. Well, you can hear me though.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
I hear you, Joe.
Well, I'll make it quick. I mean, certainly I love being on the set and I love working with all these guys, and I wish and I hope that maybe we can work together again. I always wanted to. As a filmmaker, I try to tell pictures, and you've heard it said before, but I have always tried to tell stories through pictures, and to try to have an image that makes a difference, that communicates with people. And Steel Frontier contains probably my favorite piece of writing, certainly that I did for PM. And I don't know if I mentioned this the other day, but I always think of that scene where Joe Lara's got that scar, that brand on his arm, and it's a crescent moon. And then he takes his cigar and he burns 2 more holes in his arms to make the crescent moon into a happy face. And to me, that says so much without saying a word. It seems to communicate a really strong message, I think, to the viewer. And I always love that scene and that moment. And I'm really happy about that. And yeah, that's what comes to mind immediately. I mean, I loved working on that set, and I miss you guys.
Oh,
big love, Joe.
Thanks, bud.
Man.
Miss you too.
Thank
I think
you.
John might be coming back in. We'll see. Paul, any last words, my friend?
Yeah, well, I mean, bottom line is I'm sincerely humbled by all the words, all the observations, everything you guys have to say about Steel Frontier. it goes beyond my wildest dreams, actually, and just so humbled by all of this. I also want to say, Rick Pepin, the man, I loved the man. He was one of a kind. He was one of my favorite human beings. It's such a hole in my life now, that he's gone. I still can't believe that he's gone. He was amazing. He was the PM Entertainment, and I loved him. And it's just so hard to believe. But he left a legacy. He left quite a legacy.
Yes, he did.
Last but not least, I'd like to plug the Western I did, The Night That Came Home. If anybody wants to watch it on Amazon Prime, it's called The Night That Came Home. It's got Danny Trejo in it. It's got Brian Austin Green. It's got Robert Carradine, and then some unknowns that are amazing, that are just simply, it was a very low budget and shot like on a shoestring in 13 days, eight first unit, 5 pickup days. But I'm very proud of it, and Lionsgate distributed it. They liked it enough to do that too. So The Night That Came Home, if you can watch it.
Great.
And John, if you can watch Sunset Strip, for the heck, I don't know what you're going to think about it, but it's a PM film. So if you're watching all the PM films, maybe watch that too. I did everything I could.
Oh yeah.
And thanks everybody. Once again, beyond my wildest dreams John, that you're actually starting this, the PM podcast for people who appreciated, and Rick was he was tickled pink. He loved the whole idea. And Joseph is too, believe me. Joe, there was actually it was that post that they had a picture of Joseph, that the guy who's re-releasing the widescreens, and somebody wrote in a comment, a legend. And that's when I called Joseph and I sent him the link to see that comment, legend. And he was also enthused to see that. He never considered himself a legend. So
well deserved, man. Well deserved.
Well, thank you for sharing those
Definitely.
words. That's R.I.P. Rick. We were hoping to actually have him on, and my gosh, it was just a few short days ago. So,
I asked him.
I would like to dedicate this to him. I think that would be a very special thing
Absolutely.
to do. And I also want to say thanks to everybody that came on tonight just to talk about this. This has always been a big part of my life. This film had impact for me. It was my first actual feature film, and everything about being on this set from start to finish was an experience. I still, obviously, I got copies of this at the house. I talk about it all the time. I share it with my YouTube family, and they've learned about the film, and people have tracked it down and bought a copy off eBay just so they could send it to me and sign it, and I'll send it back. And I mean, this is just how special this is to me. And the experience you gave, and the people that I met, Bob, Jim Cody, and the 2 directors, you guys, it's just, we made friends. It wasn't just a set and we're done and we went home. It's just the whole time we were there, it felt like a bunch of friends.
Thank you, Brian and John, for keeping this alive.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Thank you.
Honestly.
Thank you.
God bless you both. Thank you.
Absolutely. Well, y'all, I want to say thank you so much. Everybody have a fantastic night. I again appreciate you all for spending your time with us and everybody at home. So we're going to say good night to everybody. Wave goodbye to these lovely people.
Big love on everybody who came in here. Thank you.
Yes,
Thank
and when
you.
Still Frontier comes out on Blu-ray, we will let you know. So be on the lookout.
What a pleasure.
Good night, guys.